got washed out from a thunder shower and it got mud all over the road. And there's a couple spots that's deeper than right here, but this is where it usually washes out when we get a heavy rain. And the road department did a really good job of cleaning it up, so the road is open. There's still some snow left up in the Sierra. There's always this wet spot right here in the road. This year it's a little bit bigger than normal, of course, to be expected with all the snow we've been having. I think you can see my little truck in plenty of time when you're coming down the road. I've got that outrageously yellow painted headache rack on the back that you can see, and I'm way off the road. Here's a better shot of that side of that mountain. Got fresh running water here. This is my little spot by the Beaver pond, and I've got my guitar with me. I've got a lot of reading material. I'm just kicking back on my day off in the shade. It's hot in the desert, but it's cool up here. This is my little spot right by the Beaver pond. There's still water coming through here. There's an occasional car because it's the popular season. It's the middle of summer and it's hot. People are trying to get out of the heat. Can't blame them. Here's my view. There's fish in here, but they're small trout. I've never seen anybody fishing in here before. But up there, along that ridge just below the snow, above those pines, that's where the trail is. It goes up to Lake Oneida, up by the May Lundy gold mine. We went up there before. It's one of my favorite places to go. I'm going back to gonna take a closer look at all the mining artifacts. Oh, I see a little trout on the surface. It's small though. Can't see him. A lot of jet trails in the sky today. So glad you can join me. Since everyone was asking about my guitar in the past, I've got an Epiphone EJ200. It doesn't have the cutout, but this is the same size guitar that, for instance, Elvis Presley used. It's not the Gibson J200. Gibson J200 is 10 times more expensive. So I'm on a tight budget, and this one does fine. And it's good for chord backing and performances for singing. Oddly enough, when I'm out in the outdoors and I start playing guitar and singing, almost always the songbirds show up. They get excited. They're natural songsters. They get excited, they hear it, and they can tell it's a pattern of some kind of, musical quality of a song. And so they come over to check it out. Not sure if they think it's another bird encroaching on their territory, but if you're a bird watcher, that's the way to draw the birds out in the woods. Just start playing an instrument and singing, and the birds will show up. Maybe I'll try to get some today when they come by. That hillside there. Actually, one of my favorite videos on YouTube, of course I'm a big YouTube fan, of course, is the videos that they have of the elephants getting excited when they play the piano or play music to the elephants and the other animals. So even the animals, all the animals, they enjoy music. Some of them start dancing just naturally, kind of like children. But I'll probably spend most of the day just hanging out right in here. Like I said, it's my day off, and not gonna do any fishing, just reading and some guitar picking. Let's take a look at that snow up there real quick. Well, we might see some osprey today. I'll try to catch them on film if one comes by. But there's also bald eagles in here. Not usually this time of year, but there are bald eagles in here also. Look what I found. I'll have to show you, they're very pretty. Right by the shoreline of this beaver pond. Of the creek coming through here. Look at these babies. That's a wild rose. And they smell good too. Look at that. That's a wild bee. It's not a honeybee, it's a wild native bee of some type. It looks like it's collecting the pollen. See little pollen baskets? That's protein for them. Their carbohydrates are the sugar from the nectar, but the protein raises the baby bees. Look at that. Industrious. They don't mess around when it comes to work. They're organized too. I think I'm going to go hiking up in here next. It's a red-winged blackbird on the very tippy top of that snag. I've been watching them as I've been reading. It's a pair of red-winged blackbirds. They've got a nest in here. That's the male. This painted chieftain rock has been here for a while. I'm not normally a fan of graffiti, but it's on the road and it's executed very well, and the face fits that rock perfectly. I think it looks like a Western Shoshone He's got the eagle feather bonnet on. They usually have the ermine that come down the front on either side. So I would have to say I actually like that. It matches the rock, it's well executed. It's right on the gravel road. Boulder here I would describe as being as big as a house. I'm not kidding. Can you imagine that rolled off the mountainside from up there? I always thought this boulder was so impressive because you know it rolled off the side of that mountain probably towards the top because that's where the same color is higher up. Man, I bet that made a huge noise. That would get your attention for sure. I'll try to get another shot with me in front of it and you can see how big it is. Hello everybody. I had a nice passerby that stopped to take a picture, and they were nice enough to film and show the beautiful beaver pond in the background. And sure glad you could come along and join me today. Beautiful summer day and nice and cool up here. Looking into the center of the frame is a beaver lodge. I haven't seen any beavers today. They may not be in here right now, but they're probably the ones that dammed up this creek to make this. And keep in mind that beavers can be very aggressive, so you want to give them a wide berth. Here we have some Dutch clover. This is introduced, but it's a nitrogen fixer. So it makes its own nitrogen from the atmosphere with nodules on its roots. So it can improve the soil. And it also provides forage for honeybees. And you can clip these flower heads off. You make a bread batter and you fry them. You can eat them. No kidding. Got my lunch cooler, and I've got my songbooks. Songs here. I haven't been writing a lot of songs lately, but I've got quite a few, as you can see. And here's some books I'm reading. This one here was sent to me by one of my subscribers. I'm almost done with that, and I usually put my books in this canvas cover here that I made when I'm backpacking or walking. And then I've got my little guitar and my seat. Here's a song I wrote called In the Still Quiet Places. I hope you like it. In the still, quiet places, in the still, quiet places, in the still, quiet places of life. In the still, quiet places, in the still, quiet places, in the still, quiet places of life. In the still, quiet places, in the still, quiet places, in the still, quiet places of life. My memories of you bring back good times. We wanted to see each other one more time. In the still, quiet places, in the still, quiet places, in the still, quiet places of life. Look at this one. It's about 4 feet tall. No, it's not a tiger lily, it's something else. Have to look that one up. More unusual flora. Normally you would see some trout in a little pool like this, and I've been looking, I haven't been able to spot any. If we look close to that big snow field on the mountain, let's go zoom in. It's hard to see it, but there's a waterfall. It's a narrow waterfall that's formed from the snowmelt coming off of that. Had so much snow this year. And of course there's the bigger one over here. Right there. That's substantial. Keep in mind that's a long way away. These MREs are kind of different. They've got the, you put it in there, it's got the heater, you add water, and man, this thing is hot as can be. It's like hot as a frying pan. I mean, it was really hot. It's like a chemical reaction. But I save a little time on dinner, have MRE. Let's roll that right up. Here we have the ubiquitous fireweed. This always is associated with fire, and it's found usually in the Pacific Northwest. That one's got a little native bee on it, working it. See if I can catch him. Well, he's right behind that flower in the fireweed. There he is. See him? Take a look at that water for a moment. I saw more fish in here last year. I think because this year it's a little bit murky looking because there's a lot of silt that washed in with all the snow. I'll show you one spot where there's a lot of silt. See right there where it's coming in? See how cloudy it is and silty? There's that same type of Indian paintbrush that I keep finding growing in the wetter conditions. It's a little bit different than the types that you see in the dry areas, but this is coming up right to the bank here, right by the water. There's some more Indian paintbrush, and right next to them is yarrow, Achillea millefolium. And see the tiny flowers it has on there? Those are excellent if you have a garden or an orchard. It's excellent for raising your beneficial insects too, because they use these small kind of, they call it an umbel flowers, kind of shaped like an umbrella. They get the protein that they need, kind of like the bees, but some of those little wasps, they'll kill those tomato hornworms in your tomato patch and that kind of thing. So it's a good plant to have in your garden. Look at the color on this thistle. I like the color of these new pine candles. Ah, look what else I found over here. Later in the season, I'm coming back to get me a handful of these. I'll show you. See this bush right here in the foreground? That's an amelanchier. It's a service berry. Some people call it shade blow. It has a white flower. It has a little berry, kind of like a blueberry. There's a whole bunch in here. I'm coming back for these. I'll leave some for the birds. I just want to get a taste. There's that sun. It's going to be baking in the desert, but here it'll be at least 25 degrees cooler. Look at all the contrails up there. could have sworn that dead tree wasn't leaning that much last year. Maybe it's finally going over. But there's the other trailhead. Right up, see where that snow patch is? It's right at the base of that. That's the other trailhead. We'll go up there. But not today, I'm kicking back. Oh, look at that. There's more service berries in here too. They'll be ripening up pretty soon. You can see the green ones. And look at this mountain behind where my little spot is. Isn't that interesting, the color? I wouldn't doubt it at all. There's a cougar up at one of those trees kicking back, waiting for the evening. Well, time to head on back home. I can get across this. Well, I'm glad you all could join me for my day off at the lake.